Welcome to Your Unapologetic Life, the podcast. I'm Morgan Barkis, your body confidence coach, with a unique blend of education and experience. With degrees in psychology and marriage and family therapy, coupled with over a decade of working as an exotic dancer as well as a exotic dance and fitness instructor, I'm here to guide you on a transformative journey. If you're ready to break free from societal norms and embrace your authentic self, you're in the right place. Tune in for insightful conversations and empowering strategies that will help you rediscover your confidence. As a special gift to you, I'm offering an exclusive Lose the Midlife Belly guide. All you have to do is visit morganbarkis.com and subscribe to my email list. Let's dive into this episode. Best believe that Sharon Stone and Brad Pitt are seen different as they get into their 60s. Yeah? It's something I've picked up on, heard about, just because, everybody's talking about celebrities, and I listen to enough podcasts and just people talking about different things, and I lean toward liberal and feminist, so I usually listen to those kind of conversations. And a couple times I've heard, isn't it interesting that as men get older, and they were talking about celebrities in particular, they seem to get better looking and no one's criticizing them. They're actually talking about how much hotter they become. You think about Matthew McConaughey, you think about George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and I would attest I find them to be more physically attractive as they get older. Um, I mean, peak Pitt. I first saw him in a movie and A River Runs Through It, and that was before internet. I just remember thinking, "Who is that guy?" And wow, I mean, he is the most beautiful human I've ever seen in my life. And I probably was in 17 magazine or some other thing of the late 80s, early 90s, whenever that was, and found out that his name was Brad Pitt, and I had pictures of him hanging up in, mine and my brother's playroom. We had a room in the basement that, was our playroom, all our toys, and then as we got older, it was like TV and PlayStation, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I had pictures plastered all over the ceiling and the walls. I decorated the heck out of that room. And my brother was too busy playing, Madden on his, PlayStation. But anyway, um, so I've been loving Brad Pitt since I was a teenager, and arguably he has become even better looking. And I don't feel like he has the same pressures as female celebrities to alter himself cosmetically and to keep up with the expectations of fighting aging and anti-aging. And I highly doubt you just don't hear about it. You don't hear a bunch of critiques about, oh, he's looking older. Like I hear people like I'm a huge fan of Sex and the City as well. And I've seen nasty headlines like, "Whoo, Sarah Jessica Parker's looking old." And it's like, well, yeah, she's older. Like, she doesn't look like she did 20 years ago because she's 20 years older. Like, what is the issue here? And yet she's getting criticized for that, and people have something to say about it, and it's not kind. And I'm not seeing those nasty remarks about George Clooney or Brad Pitt. So it's just such a double standard how that is. Um, it's become the cultural narrative, and it's become the narrative in our own personal lives as well. If you think about it, celebrities kind of set the trends, and they're out there because they're in the media and they're going to award shows and they're wearing all the fancy things, and they're getting their pictures taken, and you kind of watch them and you idolize them throughout your life. As you If you do, if you're watching the movies, like I said, I've been watching Brad Pitt movies since I was a teenager, and so for me, it was A River Runs Through It and Meet Joe Black and, um, Legends of the Fall, and then it was Bullet Train, and I mean, I've always been a big fan, and to me, I never really thought about him aging because it's just like, well, so am I. We're just on this train called aging or time, and we're all just on the train. So everybody is changing and appropriately so. And yet women are held to a different standard and criticized and mean things are said. So it's on this like more macro level where it's in the culture, it's in the celebrity culture and then trickles down to us and also amongst each other. I mean, just I can think of women who have criticized other women behind their backs and I just think, well, I guess like I don't know why you're saying that to me right now or why that matters if she picked up some weight or she's looking older than you thought she was going to or like so and I so it's just in the culture, if you will. And if you think about it too, it's just pressures from ads and um, the procedures that are now available. They're not necessarily being marketed to men at the rate and saturation that they're being advertised to us women. And so there is this pressure to be like, well, should I get that thing? Well, maybe I should. I don't know. I don't want to look like beef carpaccio, but maybe I should go get that face mask that takes 3 layers of your face off. Like, I don't know, and so you just think it's something that seems to always be in your face and or talked about in the bigger culture, in celebrity culture, but then also just in our real lives. Um, and it has negative effects. One, it costs a lot of money. Like, as women, we're already forking out a lot of dough just to maintain. You got your gym membership and you're trying to eat healthy, and that's more expensive than eating bad. And you're trying to look cute, and your body changes as you get older. So now you're dressing different. So your wardrobe has to change, or maybe your job has changed, and you got to dress for your job and this different era you're in with your body and your age. And so now you're investing in clothing that feels good on you, and your style has evolved over the ages. And then now skincare costs money, and then if you're going to go above and beyond just the daily skincare, now we're talking facials, and now we're talking special treatments, and some folks are doing cosmetic surgeries, and so it's adding up, literally financially adding up dollars, and it's adding up in terms of self-esteem and how we're talking to ourselves. And rather than saying, here I am at 47 and I'm fabulous. Or like in Sex in the City when Samantha picks out a dress and the woman's like, well, don't you think that's a little young for you? And she said, exactly how old do you think I am? And she, said that she was in her 50s and she was going to rock that dress. And she did, even though she showed up on the red carpet with the exact same dress on as Miley Cyrus, who was like 25 years younger. But who cares, right? She still rocked that dress. And who says she can't wear that dress? And so, anyway, you start to question yourself and the pressure to these procedures. Oh, another Sex in the City reference. So Charlotte's character in real life, she did a bunch of fillers on her face. And so in the reboot, she looked strange. I mean, I admit, I was like, she's such a beautiful woman. And now she just looks puffy. Like, what's going on? And then I saw an article of something about like after her fillers wore off, she didn't do it again because she got so much criticism. So it was like she was probably criticized and pressured to do something for aging so she would look younger. And then she got criticized for doing the filler because she didn't look like herself. And and I agreed. I was like, just be natural. You're gorgeous. You're getting older. So what? There's some lines in your face. Who cares? Like, that's because you're however old you are and you're still gorgeous and Charlotte. And so I think she chose not to do the fillers again. And again, her choice, you do you. And it's just like, we're on this train, people. We are aging, and work with what you got. But there's this constant pressure, like, should I not? And if I do, I get criticized. If I don't, I get criticized. And then it starts to eat away at your self-esteem, and you don't know what to do. And then you're judging other women. I mean, I admit I did. I was like, why did she do that? She was gorgeous before. Why is she doing this? Why is she trying to alter something that she's just blessed to be a beautiful woman, and she's doing something unnatural, and just like it's taking away from who she was. I was a little judgy. But so when she decided not to do fillers again, I was like, yay, because she's just gorgeous. Like, why screw with what you got? But anyway, I just think it's interesting that there's this double standard, because men, it's like the salt and pepper effect, and they're dignified and they're sexy. And women, it's like you're past your prime and you're old, and I just think, well, that's mean. I mean, why is it the double standard? Why aren't we allowed to be beautiful as we age as well? Why aren't we embraced with the gray hairs and the lines, and this landscape of us that changes? Men are allowed that. Why aren't women? And yet we are allowed. We have to just take back that power. So I was thinking about having more conversations amongst ourselves as women, but also with men and women, about aging, and what is amazing about it, what makes it beautiful and special and unique. We are lucky to be able to age. There is a young woman that is probably at least 10 years younger than me that I know from a prior job, and this young woman has cancer. She's married and has a young child, and she is battling for her life. Do you think she cares about 11s between her eyebrows, or lines that might show up on her face? She just wants to live. And getting older is a blessing. It's an honor. It's a privilege. And I don't want to fight it. And I don't want to pay a bunch of money to fight it. And maybe if we were changing the narrative, I had someone reach out to me on Instagram, and it wasn't about aging or lines on the face necessarily. It was about scars, and that these stretch marks were reminders of this person's weight years ago, and this person was having a hard time embracing that they were there. And I said, I'm sorry that you are dealing with this, and it's your choice. The reality is the scars are there. In terms of aging, the lines are there. That is the reality. No matter how much you wish they weren't or you resent them, they're there. That is the reality. So the reality then becomes, do you want to make yourself miserable in the reality, or do you want to embrace the reality and change the narrative? Change the story around that. You have been lucky enough to live as long as you have. You've avoided a car accident or a crazy terminal illness. I'm a true crime junkie, so as a woman, crime is a real possibility. You've avoided that. You are alive right now. And whatever is going on the outside is a story. And you get to tell it. And you can either tell a sad, whiny victim, poor me story. Look at all this. This sucks. Why do I have this? Why does it have to be like this? Or, yeah, I have the lines on my face, around my mouth, because I do smile a lot. I'm a happy person. I'm okay with that. I got the crinkly lines by my eyes because I smile a lot. I'm okay with that. The 11, it's getting deep, especially the one of the ones. Whoo, she's deep. It's there to stay, and it's because I think a lot. I hear something, I listen to someone, and my eyebrows crinkle. It is what it is. And the story I'm gonna tell about it is I'm gonna spin it so it's good. You get to rewrite the narrative around what you're struggling with and turn it into a positive. And we get to change the narrative of how we talk to ourselves, but also how we speak to each other and catch people if they're saying something judgy, negative, something that's coming from a place that feels like expectations. You get to find role models and be around people. These are your choices to find the role models or be around people that are really grateful and happy about where they're at in their life and the stories that they have to tell. And that every line on their face and their crinkly stomach skin that I've noticed when I do yoga, I think, boy, that wasn't always like that. And yet here I am and I still can do yoga. I'm strong enough to get through all these moves smoothly and slowly, and I'm powerful and flexible. And yeah, my skin hangs different. So, I'm almost 45. It's pretty awesome. I've done a lot of things. I've traveled a lot of places. I've met a lot of people. I have a lot of happy memories. And I'm not going to fight any of that. I don't want to fight. I want to embrace it. So again, you get to change the narrative. You get to change how you talk to yourself, but also when you see other people change. It reminds me of the interview. If you haven't listened to the interview I did with Jess Sargis, and she's a former MMA fighter. She's also a lawyer, and basically how every time she sees someone that she might be envious of, or she would maybe think to judge, instead she turns it around. Or she's like on social media and sees someone that makes her feel insecure. Instead of internalizing that or thinking something negative about herself, she looks at that person and she's like, "You go, girl." And that, if you start saying that to yourself and other people and catch yourself when you think something negative about yourself or judgy about somebody else, instead turn it around and say, "You go, girl." Thank you for joining me on this episode of Your Unapologetic Life. I hope you found inspiration and practical tips to help you embrace your unique beauty. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with at least one woman in your life that you care about. Hit that follow button, and if this episode resonates with you, take a moment to rate and review. Your support helps us reach more women on their journeys to confidence. And remember, for even more resources, including my exclusive Lose the Midlife Belly guide filled with my personal tips and tricks, visit morganbarkus.com and subscribe to my email list. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait to connect with you in the next episode.